Hey, what's up guys? My name's Jared. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be another quick update video. I've made some good progress this week on the Honda, and I'm getting started on a new project on the Landcruiser. So for the Honda, in my last update video, I mentioned, well, it was still disassembled, the engine was, and I mentioned I was waiting on the piston rings so I could start putting the engine back together. Those rings showed up a few hours after I posted that video. So I've been able to make a lot of progress since then. I've posted several videos already of me assembling the engine to this point. This I think is as far as I'm going to go with assembling it until I put it back into the car. I don't want to put the intake on it and then risk damaging it. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to strap onto this to hoist it in, probably by wrapping a rope around the front and the back, and I don't want that to catch on the fuel injection and mess it up at all. I pulled it out of the car without the intake, so I'm going to put it back in the same way just to be safe. So that's the engine. Before I put it in, I had to address these brake lines. The soft brake lines that attach here, this hard line goes to it. I couldn't get this attachment point loose. I tried soaking it with penetrating oil for a couple months. It just didn't work. So unfortunately I broke the ends off of these existing brake lines. I'm going to try to put a new flange on this and use these lines as they are, but I don't know if the tools I have will work on this line because this is a much harder metal than the brake line material that I've used before when I've made new brake lines. I really want to keep these old ones because they're original and I like the way that they're attached. They have these little, they have something protecting the line at every point where it attaches on the car, and that's just, there's no way I'll be able to really reproduce that exactly the way that it is. So hopefully I can use those as they are, but we shall see. The other thing you can see, I've got the wheels off of the car. I have the brake cylinders, both of them off from this side so I could measure them and then order new seals for them, but I have them soaking now. So hopefully I'll be able to free those up and just replace the seals and use them. A really cool thing that's happened since last update video is the steering wheel. I finally finished it. I really like the way that it came out. I toyed with the idea of trying to paint that black stripe on it because I usually have a black line that goes around, but it came out so dark anyways, and I really like the way that it looks. I don't want to risk messing it up. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is. But I used it was a satin finish varnish, so it's not too shiny. I really like it. I think it came out great. The other issue that I'm dealing with this car is I can't seem to get it to go into reverse. Now, I know that you have to lift up on the shifter and then it should go into reverse. It should go over and go into reverse, but I can't get it to work. So it looks like there's a plate on the bottom of the transmission directly below here that I can remove. So I'm going to take that off and see if I can figure out what the problem is. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But that's pretty much it for the Honda. Like I said, the engine, I may even put it in before I figure out those brake lines. I mostly just wanted to get the old brake hoses off before I put the engine in because I needed to get access to them. But the new parts should go back together much easier. So I may put that engine in pretty quickly or pretty soon. So onto the Landcruiser. I've started working on installing the fuel injection. I'm using a Howe fuel injection system, and it's a really great kit. It comes with everything you need. It's got the ECU there, all the wiring harness, electric fuel pump. I'm working on the header right now. I have to install an O2 sensor onto the header. So I'll show you what I've got going on over here. I've got the header in the vise. I've drilled this out and I'm welding on this threaded point to put the O2 sensor in. And I'm using my TIG welder. I have a Lincoln TIG welder. It's awesome. I don't actually use it that often, but when you do, it's just an incredible thing to have. I really like it. The problem is, this is my helmet, which is a great helmet. It was quite expensive actually, but I haven't used it in quite a while. And so the battery seems to be dead. it's not staying dark, which means I can't see what I'm doing with the weld. It's way too bright. I do realize, before you guys all tell me in the comment that it's solar powered, yes, I understand there's a solar panel right here, and it is solar powered, and so you would think that it would work even without a battery, but regardless, it doesn't. I put it out in the sun for a while to try to charge it. Obviously, when you're using it, it's getting tons of light from the welder, so that should be more than enough to get it to work, but it's not working, so I'm going to have to get a battery for that before I can finish welding this up. So that's kind of putting a hold on that part of it. The other thing that I have to do, so this is the throttle body that's going to go on for the fuel injection. This is the adapter plate. This goes on here. This plate goes, attaches to the intake manifold. And so they sent me with the kit, they sent me these bolts to attach this to the manifold. The problem is I need to also have this on there so that I can have this vacuum line that goes, it goes to the other side of the engine, to the cover on the other side of the engine, the cover that covers the push rods for the valves. There's a vent there, and this sucks that air through to keep the engine properly vented, the crate case properly vented. So anyways, these are not long enough, right? When you go through there, it's not long enough, it won't go through. But these bolts, they have turned these down to fit in here, right? So when I bought new longer bolts, they of course don't fit. So I used my lathe. I have this tiny little lathe over here, which is really great. Again, doesn't get used very often, but when you do use it, it's really great to have when you need it. So anyways, you can see I've already turned one of these down so that it will fit in there just like the others did. And then I'll be able to attach it onto the intake. So those are the main things I'm working on today. The header, and then fitting this onto the intake. Once that's done, the next step will be to install the fuel pump. And I believe it will probably go right in here, kind of in the middle of there's an existing fuel line that goes right here, and so I'll probably try to install this in that area, but I need to make sure that there's not going to be any issues with the transfer case. So I'll probably have to go back and watch the video when I pulled that out, or some of the earlier videos of mine, and I'll see how much space is there and see if I can just put it there, or if maybe it needs to go somewhere up here. But then once I address those issues, then it's basically just wiring this thing up, and it's actually pretty easy to wire up. I've installed this same kit on two different cars. They were both Jeeps, but everything's really straightforward. They label everything, and then the instructions that come with it are pretty good. And like I said, this is my third one, so hopefully it'll go pretty smoothly. But let's see. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this week. Let's see, I can't think of anything else to go. Oh, so the clips. So on the hub video that I did, I made a few mistakes apparently. I already addressed in my last update video that the springs were wrong on the brake shoes inside of here. The other mistake I made is that when I put these on, there's a little clip that's supposed to be clipped onto the axle to keep the axle from moving around in there. And I just set that clip in there and put it together. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I thought that clip was just some kind of spacer to keep the two parts from grinding together. Like the axle from grinding up against this, the mechanism. But obviously that clip goes on there. I mean, that makes total sense. And I do remember now taking it off when I just assembled it. So I still need to fix that. I tried doing that today, but the pliers that I have, like the expanding pliers, whatever they're called, to expand those clips, mine aren't very good, and that clip doesn't have a really good point. It doesn't have like two holes in it like normal where you can really expand it. So I think I'm gonna order a different set of those. I've been wanting a different set anyways. So I'm gonna do that. But if you guys know of some trick to put those on easier, let me know. I just didn't feel like struggling with it for a long time today, because I really wanted to get moving on the fuel injection. I want to get this thing started up and hear it run. The other issue, that pulley, nothing's changed since my last update video. I still need to either find a harmonic balancer with a larger pulley, or find a smaller pulley to add to it, or maybe just get one of the harmonic balancers with dual pulleys. But my concern is, I have seen a dual pulley harmonic balancer on eBay, and this outer groove was visibly much smaller. It would have only used a much smaller belt than this inner pulley. And so I don't want to buy, those things are expensive. I don't want to buy one unless I can see for sure that both pulleys are for the same thickness of belt, because I need that thicker belt. But let's see. I think that's about it. Yeah, okay. So I think that's actually it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Okay, bye.